It's not a must win for the Texans, but
I would be so
hey, what's going on, y'all? You're tuning to the Texas Tailgate Talk Show. I'm your host, Big Sarge. Make sure you follow me on the app formerly known as Twitter at Big Sarge Sports with a Z at the end. Follow me on the Tick and the Talk at Big Sarge Media. What's up, TikTok family? Make sure you are subscribed to the Texas Tailgate Talk podcast and YouTube channel, all one word, Texas Tailgate Talk. Follow me on Instagram at Big Sarge Sports with a Z at the end. Because you know we do everything for the gram. And make sure you're reading all my articles at www.bigsargemedia.com. What's going on, y'all? Hey, let me put this up real quick. Illy Woogie. Sarge, you have to stop disappearing. I don't disappear. I listen while I drive. You know what? Just for you. I'm gonna make sure that you have consistent daily content. What's going on, y'all? What's going on? What's going on? Hey, look, before we get started, I got to recap my weekend. And you saying, Sarge, it's Wednesday. How you recapping your weekend? Because I ain't talked to y'all. I got that. But, so, you know, I took a bye week too. Like, I got to have a bye week too. Because I cover two sports. I covered the Rockets and I covered the Texans. And now that they're both back in season, I mean, this thing is about to start picking up real soon. Look, the Houston Texans take on that Baltimore Ravens false carry. It was too funny. Appreciate that, DQ. So Monday, this upcoming Monday, when the Texans play the Seahawks in Seattle at 9 o'clock. 9 o'clock Seattle time is what here? Like 11 o'clock here? I'm saying to myself, oh, wait, hold on. No, 9 o'clock here, 7 o'clock there. But that means that after the game is over, I probably won't get out of there till midnight. Then I have to go back to the room, make sure that I'm already packed, get up, hop on the plane, head from Seattle, Washington to Oklahoma City, Oklahoma, because the Rockets opened their season against the Thunder in OKC. So I got to leave Seattle and fly in on Tuesday morning to OKC, and because they are opening their season and the Texans play on Monday night. So, you know, sometimes I got to, you know, I have to take a bye week as well. And Illy Woogie, let me tell you this. And Woogie, I'm just gonna call you Woogie. Woogie, let me tell you this. It's so tomorrow, what's today? Wednesday, the 15th. Yes, my wife's birthday is tomorrow. And so we celebrated, and I'm not gonna even lie to you. The bye week for the Houston Texans this year came at the right time. At the right time, because for those of you all who don't know, my wife is a huge WNBA fan, right? She's a huge WNBA fan. I'm a WNBA fan as well, but my wife is a huge WNBA fan. And she loves the Las Vegas Aces. That's her team. That's her team. Asia Wilson is her favorite player in the WNBA. When I tell you that, like when they come on, everything has to shut down. Everything has to shut down. And my wife really likes to watch these games. She really likes to watch the WNBA games by herself. She don't mind me being there, but like when it's big games, she feels like I'm the jinx. Now she won't say it, but she feels like I'm kind of the jinx. And so let me tell you this. the so the three prior games, the three games that they had against the Phoenix Mercury. Uh One of the games I was in here doing a podcast. I think another game. Oh, and then the other two games I was at the Rockets, if I'm not mistaken. I think that was at the Rockets preseason game, or I was doing something. Like I never watched the games with her, and they went up 3-0. So I took my wife to Phoenix, right? I took my wife to Phoenix to see game 4 of the WNBA finals. And so we're sitting there, we're watching the game, and the Aces jumped out to this huge lead, right? They jumped out to this huge lead of 17 points. And then the Mercury cut the lead down to 6, if I'm not mistaken, maybe even 4. But it was either 6 or it was 4. And I, being the great husband that I am, we sit next to each other watching the game. I, being the great husband that I am, I got up and I left. I left my wife there to watch the game by herself because I felt like I was the jinx. So what did I do? I cut on a Peloton walk on my phone and I walked around the arena. I just walked around the arena, catching the game on the outside. And I left and they came back. Now we can watch any regular season game together, but then big games like that, she don't want to be bothered. So I just kept on walking around till the game was almost over. And then I came back, and then the Aces won. My wife was happy, and that's we call it the best birthday trip ever. She was so happy. So happy about that. And so, and you know what? Y'all drop it in the comments. Hey, Miss Jordan, how's it going? Y'all drop it in the comments. Drop it in the chat. Y'all drop it in the chat. Hey, do y'all feel like is there such thing as a superstition? Because I'm gonna be honest with you. If I'm watching my favorite team and when my wife's not around, they win. When she's around, they lose. I'm gonna be like, hey, can you go in another room for a second? Hey, can you go to the grocery store? Because I know I can't be the only one that believes in those type of superstitions, right? Like I can't believe it. I can't be the only one that believes in those sports superstitions. So I'm like, hey, I gotta go. So I walked around, but we went to Phoenix for her birthday. We went to the WNBA finals. We got a massage, and then we went to our favorite steak place. We make it out to Phoenix at least once a year. And so we got out there. She was happy. I was happy. And like I said, her birthday is until tomorrow, but we fly out for Seattle on Saturday. So we get there. Neither one of us has ever been to Seattle, Washington. So we're going to get out to Seattle and we're going to do tourist type stuff. Because I don't know if y'all remember or not. Last time I was supposed to go to Seattle, it's 2023 for my birthday. And just so happened the Houston Texans won the AFC South, won their wild card game, and they played in the divisional round against the Baltimore Ravens. And so we had to cancel the trip to Seattle because I had to go cover the game. And so this time we get to go out there, and I'm going for work, of course. I'm going to work, of course, and we flying on Saturday. We get to do tourist type stuff on Saturday. Sunday, we're doing a 5K, and we get to hang out and do more tourist type stuff. Then Monday's the game. We fly into OKC on Tuesday. We come back on Wednesday. And then, because the Rockets, the Rockets will be getting prepared for their season. I mean, their home opener against the Detroit Pistons on that Friday. So Woogie, I had to take a break myself because I had to get myself together. I buy your wife some flowers while you're in Seattle. It's the cheapest and most beautiful. Okay, I appreciate that. Thank you for that. So yeah. So I had to take a bye week myself. So I took a bye week and now I'm back. Texans have restarted their activities, and because they're playing a Monday night game, everything gets pushed back by a day. So normally The game would be on Sunday. We would come in on Monday to talk with D'Amico Ryans and have an open locker room, and then Tuesday would be the off day. But this week, they had an off day on Monday. We spoke to D'Amico Ryans and had the open locker room on Tuesday. They're off day on Wednesday, and then Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, they do regular activities before they fly out on Sunday. And so I won't be able to make it to practice on Saturday, of course, because I already be in Seattle. But yeah, so we're back. We're back. What's up, Alexis? Senior Bubbly. What's up, Queena? All right. So once again, you tune into the Texas Tailgate Talk Show. I'm your host, Big Sarge. Let's jump right into this thing. Well, first of all, let me do this. Let me give my condolences to the family of D'Angelo. You know, he passed away on Tuesday, and like, I'm a huge fan of D'Angelo, and I'm a huge fan of, rest in peace, Angie Stone. I think both of them made some amazing music. Like their music is just it's timeless, and it's classic to me, because I like R&B, I like soul, I like the funk, I like all the blend of what Angie Stone did and what D'Angelo did. Both of them, God rest soul. But the one reason that I want to send out my condolences to his family is because I know that their son has to be going through it, because he lost his mom, and he lost his mom, and he lost his dad, I think within a 6-month time frame. If I'm not mistaken, he lost both of his parents within 6 months. And I know how hard that is, having dealt with that. I know some of you all have too. So I just wanted to make sure that I gave condolences to his family, and especially his son, for what he's dealing with. Now, look, I ain't gonna even lie. Sarge been in the gym again. You know what I'm saying? Sarge been in the gym again, because, you know, I turned 54 in January, and I started to come on here with my shirt off, like that "How Does It Feel" video with D'Angelo, and you know how he was on that video with no shirt on and showing his body off, and then I started to do that too. But I don't know how many of you all are fans of D12. You know that from Detroit, they was Eminem's group. I don't know how many of you all are familiar with Bizarre. I didn't want to come on here looking like a skinny version of Bizarre. So yeah, I'm gonna keep my shirt on this time. Maybe later on I'll take my shirt off, like in 2026, the summer of 2026. I will take my shirt off then, but until then, no, I gotta keep my shirt on, because y'all know Bizarre. These chicks don't even know the name of my band, but they all on me like they wanna hold hands. That's one of my favorite songs. Look, hold on. I know we got to get started in just a second. That's one of my favorite songs, man. Cause Suck It Off Stage, right? Drop the mic. Y'all know that song? My band, my band, my band. Stay focused, Sarge. All right. Let me do this. Okay. So the Houston Texans, right? Coming off of they had back-to-back victories over the Tennessee Titans and the Baltimore Ravens, and now they're heading to Seattle to take on the Seattle Seahawks, who have been playing very well, by the way. I think that 2 weeks ago they lost to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers by a score of 38-35. And then this past weekend, they beat the Jacksonville Jaguars by a score of 20-12. And that defense is playing very, very good. I think they sacked Trevor Lawrence 7 times. They hit him like 17 times. They caused a lot of pressures. They didn't allow that Jacksonville Jaguars offense to get going. And so, you know, like I said, the title of this show is it's not a must win for the Texans, but, and the reason why I say that but is because they're going to need the Texans need some type of momentum. They need to keep that momentum going. And I mean, as soon as they, you know, look like they started to click, because, you know, I've said this repeatedly and I'll say it again for those of you all who haven't heard it, that 3rd and 32 play in the close to the end of the third quarter against the Tennessee Titans, where CJ Stroud hooked up with Nico Collins and got 37 yards. Since that one play, the Houston Texans offense has done nothing but roll. They have done nothing but picked up confidence. They've done nothing but picked up momentum. They've done nothing but seems like they're starting to put together some of their offense. And I will say this, right? I'm going to say this because there's a huge conglomerate of people out there on social media, and some of them even in the media, some of them even in the local media, that said, how much can you really judge the Houston Texans based off of what they just did against two bad teams, and the Tennessee Titans, who have only had one win on the season, and then a depleted Baltimore Ravens team. Y'all know how I feel about that, about them talking about the depleted Baltimore Ravens roster, when nobody said that when the Baltimore Ravens came into Houston on Christmas Day last season and beat the dog shit out of them, hand over heart, but beat the dog crap out of them by a score 31-2. And the Texans were without 5 starters and without a total of 7 players. So I don't have any sympathy. I don't have any sympathy for triple play. Yes, Seattle does have some defenders out as well. They do. I think their safety, I think their defensive backs are that defensive backfield may be a little bit depleted coming in, but they got a strong front seven, in which is what I talked to head coach DeMeco Ryans about on Tuesday. But I don't have any sympathy for the Baltimore Ravens. You can only play who you can play, and then if it was so easy to beat them like that, and I know they got some players back, but I mean the Rams struggled with them for a minute. Like, I don't want you to take away from the fact of it wasn't about what who they were playing. It was about them. It was about them. And so what, you're playing against a team that doesn't have all their starters on defense or has some key people out, whatever the case may be. You're just trying to focus on you and what you can do and how you can build confidence in a player like Xavier Hutchinson, who had 2 touchdowns, how you can get Nick Chubb going, how you can get Christian Kirk going by getting that big 47-yard reception, how you can get Nico involved and keep him involved, and how you can get CJ to the point where how much criticism he had taken all the way up to that game, to him winning the Week 5 AFC Player of the Week. I think CJ, if I'm not mistaken, has 400 plus yards, 6 touchdowns, and no interceptions over the last 2 games. You also could see the bookend tackles of right side Titus Howard and left side Ariante Ursery starting to come together and protect CJ better than what was going on earlier in the season. And also, I mean, we've seen what Ed Ingram is starting to do, who, by the way, I'm going to put out a clip here pretty soon. I'm going to put out a clip here pretty soon about what Ed Ingram says the mindset is for him and Titus Howard and them playing next to each other, how they feel about the right side of playing on the right side. And so, yes, Jalen 2000 on TikTok. Yeah, Woody is doing good as well. He's getting his he's getting his footing. And, the Houston Texans are getting healthier. I think that, pretty soon we'll see rookie Jalen Reed come back. We'll see rookie Jalen Smith come back. And I like what they're doing as far as splitting time between EJ Speed and Henry Toa. I like that. I like that the defense coordinator Matt Burke and DeMeco Ryans were able to see that, and they're starting to use that to their ability. So, I mean, use that to their advantage. And so over these last 2 games, the Houston Texans have started to build up confidence. So that's why I say that it's not a must win, but you want them to keep that confidence. You want them to keep that momentum. And if we're being honest, the AFC is really starting to come back to them just a little bit. As I made this case when I was on Sports Sunday on KPRC. For those of you all who are not from Houston, that's the NBC affiliate here in Houston. But I was on Sports Sunday, KPRC 2 News Houston, with Aaron Wilson, who does a fantastic job of covering the Houston Texans. And I said, if you really want to break this thing down and you take a step back and you take a look at it, the Houston Texans could have been 5-0. The Houston Texans could have been 5-0 at this point. The 3 games they lost was the 3 games that they've had that mishaps has happened, and the offense wasn't clicking. Take you back to week 1 against the Rams. In the red zone, Dare Ogunbowale fumbled. They end up losing that game. Week 2, the offense starts off good, but they don't keep the momentum. By the time the end of the game comes, Baker Mayfield, who, I mean, listen, you're going to lose to Baker Mayfield, that's cool, because he is right now, after 6 weeks of football, Baker Mayfield is the MVP of the league. That's how he's playing. And so, and they contained him all the way to that 4th down play. And then there's just Baker Mayfield doing Baker Mayfield type things. We've seen him do the exact same thing this past Sunday. And so you lose on the last a 2-minute drive to Baker Mayfield in week 2. And then in week 3, something unprecedented happened, and Nico Collins fumbles against the Jacksonville Jaguars, and they lose that game. And so when you look at it, the Houston Texans could have potentially either been 5-0 or at best 4-1, which it would have been a really good record coming into the bye week. But they currently stand 2-3. But the AFC isn't as strong as most people thought it was going to be right now. And we're only at, this is only week 7. There's still 11 more weeks of football to go. And so they still can catch up, or they could drop. Like, nobody really knows, because if you do know how they're going to be, then let me know and give me the lottery numbers and let me play the lotto, and let me, put some money down on what you all on your predictions, because But even when you look at the AFC South, we know that Tennessee is out of it. I mean, they just fired their coach the other day, which I thought was really crazy, but that's another story for another time. We'll talk about that later. You look at Tennessee, they're out of it. You look at Jacksonville, I don't believe that Jacksonville is as strong as people are making them out to be, and I do believe that the Houston Texans could beat them. And then you look at the Indianapolis Colts. Now, I'm going to say this, right? Let me say this, and let me timestamp it. I'm going to say this. I don't want to knock the Indianapolis Colts. Do I believe in Daniel Jones? I do not. I do not. As a Dallas Cowboys fan on hold, I watched him play a lot. And I watched him play to the point where he'll give you these good moments, and then he'll wet the bed later on. When you need him to be good, he's not going to be good. But when there's no pressure on him, and think about it like this. Daniel Jones came into this season with no pressure on him. All the pressure was actually on Anthony Richardson. And then when he became the starter, there's no pressure on Daniel Jones. He's playing with house money. He's playing with house money right now, and everything that he's doing, he's only building himself up to be the next Kirk Cousins. When I look at Daniel Jones, the quarterback for the Indianapolis Colts, that's what I think. Hey, man, he's nothing but Kirk Cousins. He'll give you flashes just good enough to keep contracts, or just good enough to make you think he's good, and then he'll let you down, or he'll disappoint you. Remember, the Giants let him go after giving him money, even though that contract was a little funny. They let him go. And so the Colts, and I don't believe in Daniel Jones, but I'm going to tell you this, though. Let me tell you this. I do believe in their running game. I do believe in their offensive line, and I do believe in their defense. I'm not going to knock them for being 5-1. I don't believe in Daniel Jones, but I'm not going to sit here and sound idiotic or stupid and say that the Indianapolis Colts aren't good. No matter how they're winning the games, no matter how they're you know, listen, I watched too. I watched when the Colts played the Broncos and the Colts kicker missed the extra point. I mean, missed the field goal, but they got another shot at it because of a penalty, which was very, very skeptical on the Broncos defense for they call it launching, I think. Uh uh Launching, if I'm not mistaken. But anyway, they got another chance and they beat Denver. There's been some other close games that they've had that they've squeaked by, but I'm not going to knock them for that because I mean the Houston Texans, during D'Amico Ryan's tenure here with the team, I mean they've won a lot of one-score games, so you don't want to knock them. You don't want to knock them. Hold on for a second. Let me put this up here. Dizzy says, sorry, they haven't played anyone. I will give them credit when they beat a competent team, which is why I credit the sorry Jags for beating KC. And I understand that. But if you can't give them credit for the teams that they beat, then can you give the Texans credit for the teams that they beat? That's all I'm saying. All I'm saying is I don't want to discount the fact that the Indianapolis Colts are a good team right now. And even the teams that they're playing, they're still winning these games. Like they're still winning these games. So if you're going to knock them for who they played, then you're going to have to knock the Texans and who they played as well. And so, and I'm not here to be a hypocrite. I'm listen, y'all know me. I stand 10 toes down on everything I say. So when I say it here, I believe it. So I'm not going to knock them for being a good team. But I also believe that the Texans will probably split with them. I believe that the Houston Texans will split with the Indianapolis Colts this year. And so if they come back around and they can beat the Colts, I mean, if they can split with the Colts, they can beat the Jaguars and then they can sweep the Titans. Like they're still right there. And there's still some winnable games on the Houston Texans schedule. And there's some teams, I'm going to be honest with you, there's some teams. Okay. Y'all hold on for a second. Give me a second. Oh, by the way, this is free promotion. Y'all send this to Starbucks when you get a chance. I am addicted to these Starbucks mango dragon fruit drinks with lemonade. Oh my God, they are the best. So if you want to cash out me, I don't do coffee a lot, even though I have, I like coffee, but I don't do coffee a lot. I do these every day. Oh my God, not every day, but like at least how many days is it in a week? 7, at least 5. I digress. Let me say this. Well, I was on the Texans cookout, right? I was on the Texans cookout. And for those of y'all who haven't subscribed, make sure you go to Texans Cookout on YouTube, subscribe to the channel. And that's the post-game show with myself, Chancellor Johnson, DJ BNMA, and Jonathan M. Alexander, excuse me. And I think it was our very first show. And at the time, I think the Texans were probably 0-2. Maybe, yeah, I think they were 0-2. And they asked, we went around, we did a roundtable discussion, and we asked about, do you believe that the Houston Texans can make the playoffs? And I was one of the main ones that said yes. I think I probably was the only one who said yes. I said I still believe that they can, because you have to give CJ Stroud time. You have to give, Nick Caley time to do what he's doing. You have to give that offense time. The defense is going to be who they're going to be. The defense is going to be who they're going to be. And the defense is going to keep you in games. But you got to give the offense some time to start clicking. And CJ is starting to click. Now, has he played clean games, I feel like he could play better, and he knows that he could play better. He's probably going to tell us that on Thursday that he could play better, even though, like I said, he had a very, very good game. I think his 85% completion rate was the highest of his career. And so I think that they can play better. And so I said, you got to give him an opportunity and a chance. And I do believe the Houston Texans can still make I still believe that they can make the playoffs. I do. And one of the reasons why I believe they can make the playoffs is because I'm still looking at their schedule, and if they can play the way that they're supposed to play, there's still an opportunity for them to win the AFC South. And if you win the AFC South, they can make the playoffs. But you look at some of the teams left on their schedule, and you can see, okay, we'll talk about Seattle in just a second because I'm going to get back to talking about Seattle. But then after that, y'all give me a second. Let me pull up the schedule because there's some games on there that I've been monitoring their teams, and I'm saying to myself, Houston could. So after the Seahawks, they play the 49ers, who are, I don't know if they're going to get their quarterback back, but even if it does, like coming back against the Houston Texans, that's going to be hard. And I know that Robert Saleh is it is the originator of the defense that DeMeco Ryans runs. So if there's anyone who may know how to beat that defense, it is Robert Saleh. But I just like what DeMeco said on Tuesday, it isn't the coaches, it's the players. So he may know how to beat the scheme, but can he beat a Derek Stingley? Can he beat Kamari Lassiter? Can he beat Will Anderson Jr.? Can he beat Danielle Hunter? Can he beat Azeez Al-Shaair? Can he get the ball over Kalen Bullock's head? Like he could beat the scheme, but can he beat the players? And I think that's where it differentiates when it comes to playing against the 49ers. So I don't know if they're going to have their quarterback back. They've lost their heart and soul of the defense of their team in Fred Warner. He's out for the season, and linebacker Fred Warner, and he makes their defense go. And so with him being out, I mean, they still have a very, very, very good left tackle, but he's going to have his hands full with Danielle Hunter and Will Anderson flip-flopping all day long. And so I think that, you look at it when they play the 49ers, the Broncos, how sure are we of how they have been playing here of late? I don't have a lot of confidence in the Denver Broncos. And if I know that Patrick Surtain II is probably going to be on Nico Collins for the entire game, but that's when you need Higgins to step up. That's when you need Noel to step up. That's when you need Hutchinson to step up. That's when you need Kirk to step up. And even, I'm put it like this. Some of y'all may not believe this, but Dalton Schultz is playing some very good football. Dalton Schultz is playing some very, very good football. And so at the Broncos, you turn right back around, you play the Jaguars, then you play the Titans, then you play the Bills. Like, of course, when you got the reigning MVP at quarterback. Side note, man, F that. Josh Allen pissed me off, y'all. Josh Allen made me lose my fantasy football. I came into the game trailing by like less than a point. And I had him to play, and I had Keon Coleman to play, and all he had was Bijan Robinson, and Bijan Robinson beat the hell out of me. I'm saying to myself, I knew that the Bills defense was ass, but I didn't know that they was like pure butt cheeks. Like they not even BBL butt cheeks. They just like nasty cheeks. They're terrible. They're horrible. But it didn't make it no better that Josh Allen played like. So, they play the Bills. I think that they could beat the Bills. Then they play the Colts. Then they play the Chiefs. And they play the Chiefs in Kansas City. And I'm going to say this. The last two times the Houston Texans have played the Kansas City Chiefs. They played them close. We watched them play in Week 16, and that's the game that they lost 3 starters. That was the horrific injury to Tank Dell, and then we watched them play in the divisional round, and they lost in the fourth quarter. They definitely lost. But you got to play Kansas City in Kansas City. I just watched Kansas City go an entire game without being called for a penalty. Okay, let me say it again for the people in the back. So I just watched the Kansas City Chiefs go an entire game against the Detroit Lions and then not get called for one penalty. I watched that game. Did I see penalties? Hell yeah, I seen penalties. Were they called? Hell no, they weren't called. So, in order for the Texans to go into Kansas City and to beat the Chiefs, they're going to have to blow them out. And that's not going to be easy to do. But they play the Chiefs, they play the Cardinals, they play the Raiders. I mean, like they played after the Chiefs, they play the Cardinals, Raiders, and the Chargers, and then they play the Colts again. Looking at this schedule, I'm telling you, I do believe that the Houston Texans have a chance, even after starting the season 0-3, to get back to where they need to be. Right. Thank you. That classic 21. Chiefs had 13 penalties against the Jags the week before. Right. Exactly. And so, in order to beat the Chiefs, you got to beat the Chiefs. You can't let them hang around. And I mean, because for some reason, there is a love affair between the league and Patrick Mahomes. It's another story for another time. I digress. Let's get back to this let's get back to this current game against the Seattle Seahawks, right? And like I said, it's not a must-win game, but it is a game that they need in order to continue on what they have, because there's no more bye weeks. They got to go with what they got right now, and they got to continue to move. And so there's a couple of things that I noticed when I watched, and I watched, and I'm watching again with the Seattle Seahawks. If the offensive line can pick up, and exactly this is what D'Amico Ryan said on Tuesday as well, they can pick up those line stunts, which they have been doing a lot better at. They've been doing a lot better at being able to pick up the line stunts. And I'm liking the unit that Cole Popovich is going with. I'm liking the unit that Nick Caley is going with. And that's Ariante Ursery at left tackle. Basically Juice Scruggs at left guard, even though he's splitting time with Laken Tomlinson. And Laken Tomlinson might start, but then Juice Scruggs will come to the game. But I can see Juice starting more because he's starting to get more acclimated. He's playing very well. Jake Andrews at center. Ed Ingram at right guard, and Titus Howard at right tackle. They're starting to do a whole lot better as a unit, communicating with each other. And, even after they had that debacle where CJ got sacked, I think that was the fastest time for him to be sacked, with that Jeffrey Simmons sack against the Titans. And I found out what happened. There was really miscommunication. I talked to Ed Ingram and I talked to Titus Howard. And that's what happened. It was just miscommunication. And so, but they're starting to play a little bit better, but they're going to have to be on their A game in order to go up against the Seattle Seahawks defensive seven that looks really, really good. And that's going to be a problem for this offensive line until they're able to get themselves together. And let's not forget the crowd noise. The crowd noise has been, the crowd noise in Lumen Field. It makes it hard for opposing offenses to be able to get into a rhythm because it's so loud that you can barely hear it. And I, like I said, I've never been to that stadium before. This is going to be my first time, but I heard it's the equivalent to how the Superdome. They still call it the Superdome, or is it like the Mercedes Benz Dome or something? I can't remember what the name of it is down in New Orleans. That thing gets loud. I've been in that one. Kansas City gets super loud, and I heard that in Seattle they get louder than they do in Kansas City, and so they're going to have to be on the same page. They're going to have to communicate with each other. They're going to have to make sure that everything is on the up and up when it comes to going up against the crowd noise and that defensive front. And if you give CJ the time, I think that he'll be able to do what he needs to do. And that front seven is also very good against the run. And so I know the Houston Texans want to establish that running game with Nick Chubb and Woody Marks. So that's going to be that's going to be an issue for them, that I think that if they can overcome that, they'll be able to win. Here's where I say the Houston Texans have the advantage. And I know you're going to say, Sarge, okay, Captain Obvious. I know that. We know that, Captain Obvious. We know what you're about to say. I got to say it, though. Like that Texans defense, like that Texans defense, like that Texas defense, I'm not going to even lie. It's been a long time since I've seen a defense play like that. And they do have their bend but don't break moments, but that damn defense is so good. It's so good. And if they would have gotten rid of their problem early on in the season, if they would have got rid of their problem by game 2, they could potentially, be 1-1. I don't know, or 3-2. Let's say it like that. They could be 3-2. They would have got rid of CJ Gardner Johnson earlier. They probably would have been, there would have been a whole lot. I think they would have had a better record. I do. I'm the one that believed that. And, side note, I put this out on Twitter, and y'all can clip this up and send it to them. It doesn't matter to me one way or the other. But if I'm CJ Gardner Johnson, I'm stepping away from the game for the rest of this season, getting myself together mentally, getting myself together, take a step back and focus on myself before I get myself into any type of other situation. Because after the Texans let him go, and he's still getting his money, but after they let him go, the Ravens picked him up, put him on a practice squad, and now he got cut from the practice squad of the Baltimore Ravens. And so I'm saying to myself, hey man, just take a step back. Anyway, I digress. When you look at this Houston Texans defense, and like I said, they have a lot of bend but don't break moments. But they can't allow Sam Darnold to get going, because the last time they seen Sam Darnold, he was beating the brakes off of them. Now, he didn't have a great game, but he game managed the game. Because you remember, Sam Darnold was the quarterback when the Minnesota Vikings beat the Houston Texans last year in Minnesota. And the offense stunk that game. The offense for the Texans, it was trash that game. And, they kept giving him a lot of short field, but he also, he also just did what he's supposed to do. And so when you give him Sam Darnold, he played with Justin Jefferson last year and he looked adequate. Well, he has another very, very good wide receiver in Jackson Smith and Jigba. Like JSN is really good. JSN, I think, if I'm not mistaken, he leads the NFL in receiving yards right now. He doesn't have a lot of touchdowns, but he does lead in receiving yards. And they've been allowed and when I say they've been allowed, that means that offensive line has given them enough time to be able to connect with each other. And they are good. Hold on, give me a second. I need to look up something. I'll be right back. Here we go. Look, I'm right here on it right now. Let's look at Jackson Smith and Jigba's last couple of games. Let's look at his games this season. In week 1, he had 9 catches for 124 yards. In week 2, he had 8 catches for 103 yards. In week 3, he had 5 catches for 96 yards. Week 4, 4 catches for 79 yards. Week 5, 8 catches for 132 yards. And against Jacksonville, he had 8 catches for 162 yards. And he is balling. I'm just going to go ahead and say it. He is balling. You can't take that away from him. And so anytime you have a quarterback like Sam Darnold who can get him the ball, then you're gonna there's gonna be an issue and a problem when you go up against that team, when you go up against that Seattle Seahawks team, because he's the one player that's going to be looking for, and when he's not going, they're looking for that. If I'm not mistaken, that they have a 1-2 punch in Kenneth Walker, and I can't think of the other running back's name. And so they do an adequate job of moving the ball. They do an adequate job of allowing Sam Darnold and Jackson Smith and Jigba to get on the same page. That offensive line allows them that, but they ain't played really against a defense like the Houston Texans. And because of the Houston Texans defense, I think that this time around, having seen some of the tendencies of Sam Darnold, now it's different. It's going to be different. But there's something that I looked at, and I put this in my article on Tuesday. There's something that I looked at on Next Gen Stats, and it says Jackson Smith and Jigba has caught 31 of 43 targets for 631 yards and 3 touchdowns when the line out wide this season. I'm going to repeat that one more time. Jackson Smith and Jigba has caught 31 of 43 targets for 631 yards and 3 touchdowns when the line out wide this season. Now, when you hear that, you say, well, I guess all the Seahawks are going to do is just, put him out wide. Just put him out wide and let him go crazy. If he got 631 yards and if he caught 31 of the 43 targets, just put him out there. But, see, that was just the first part. Let me read you the second part of this stat. His receiving yards from such alignment is the most in the league and 145 more receiving yards than the next closest wide receiver, George Pickens, who has 486 yards. So he has 145 more yards than the next receiver that's closest to him, and that's Dallas Cowboys wide receiver George Pickens, who has 486 yards from being, lined out wide. Now, if you're new here, right? If you're new here, let me go ahead and say this. What the Texans have, right? What the Texans have is 2 very, 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 very good cornerbacks. They have one that's first team all pro in 2024, and Derek Stingley. Hey, shout out, congratulations to Derek Stingley and his lovely fiance. He just got engaged. But they have a first team all pro cornerback on one side. So you say, cool, ain't no problem. We'll just put Jackson Smith and Jigba on the other side away. We'll keep him away from Derek Stingley. We know what Derek Stingley can do. We'll keep him away from Derek Stingley. Well, you can't just throw him over there because there is a Derek Stingley Jr. clone in Kamari Lassiter on the other side. And who feels like he got slighted his rookie season by not getting the accolades that he felt like he deserves. Even though he don't play for him, he still felt like he deserved them, and he didn't get them. So he even more pissed. And this is the same guy, right? For those of y'all who haven't seen the viral clip from when I was talking to him after after the Baltimore Ravens game. For those of y'all who haven't seen that viral clip, because it went viral, let me say it like this. So I'm talking to him, right? I'm talking to him after the game, talking about the way he played, and I talked about the interception that he got against the Ravens, which he wasn't even supposed to be in the game. The only reason he was in the game is because the backup quarterback Damon Arnett had caught a cramp and he couldn't get back in the game. He couldn't get back in the game at that time. So Kamari was in the game and he was able to get that interception, his first of the year. But he wasn't even supposed to be in the game. So after the game, we're talking. And he said, it's cool that I got the interception. It's cool we got the win. But I got to play better. I got to tap in. I got to do more. I'm not doing enough. And then he proceeds to tell me 2 other plays, specific plays, where he felt like he should have had an interception. He tells me about 2 more specific plays that he felt like he could have been better on. And then he says, I could have played better. He said, I got to tap in. I got to tap in. No, he said, I got to tap in. I got to lock in. I got to tap in. I got to lock in. Like, and he's sitting there like I think that if they told Kamari, hey, we got to go right back right now and play another game, he'd probably. I'm surprised Kamari don't walk out of the stadium in his uniform. I am surprised that Kamari does not walk out of the stadium in his uniform, because he's always ready to play. Always ready to play. So you can't just send JSN to the other side and think that you're going to be effective over there either, because Kamari's played against these type of wide receivers before. And yeah, you may get him one time, but you're not going to repeatedly beat him. Not gonna. He plays against JSN. He practices against JSN every day. In Nico Collins, he practices against players like JSN as far as physical stature and makeup is in Xavier Hutchinson and Jaden Higgins. Like, you can't just send JSN to the opposite side of Derek Stingley and think that you're going to win. So I still ain't finished reading all of this stat. Let me start from the beginning, and then I'm going to get to the end. Jackson Smith-Njigba has caught 31 of 43 targets for 631 yards and 3 touchdowns when the line out wide this season. His receiving yards from such alignment is the most in the league, and 145 more receiving yards than the next closest wide receiver in Dallas Cowboys wide receiver George Pickens with 486. The Texans defense has allowed 450 yards, the 6th fewest, on throws to wide receivers aligned out wide. Okay, for the people in the back and at the top, what's going on? The Texans defense has allowed 450 yards, the 6th fewest on throws to wide receivers aligned out wide. So what I'm trying to tell you all is you're not going to just throw JSN to the opposite side of Derek Stingley and then say, we'll just operate from this side of the field, because you're going to keep going at Kamari until he sends you back over to the other side of the field. And then you're going to try to go against the other side of the field. And now you see what happens. The best bet is to probably try to run JSN out of the slot. Maybe try to get him matched up against Jalen Petrie. But I don't know how much Jackson Smith-Njigba is built to repeatedly get hit by a linebacker that's playing cornerback. From a linebacker who's playing the safety corner, because that's Jalen Petrie is a linebacker to me. I'm just going to be honest with you, because of the physicality and the way that he hits, and he's getting smarter and smarter and smarter at playing that position. But I don't know if he wants to get hit like that. And I don't know if he wants to be ran in the middle where you got a Z stand there waiting to blast anything that comes in his area. Same as Henry Toto, same as EJ Speed. Like, so I understand. Don't get me wrong. I think that JSN is a very, very good. His name is going to be here, be up there with the Justin Jeffersons and the Jamar Chases and the Nico Collins and the Puka Nakuas. Like, his name is going to be up there. I just like this is going to be a matchup, and I'm going to be honest with you. These are the type of games. These are the type of games that players like Derek Stingley Jr. and Kamari Lassiter take very personal. Like, they go out there and they go to play the game, but they take these type of games very personal because they know that everybody is watching to see what this wide receiver is going to do against them. And they like, nah, not us. Like, you might want to wait till the next opponent, but not against us. And they play every play as if it's their last play. And I think that what is helping the Houston Texans, what helped the Houston Texans is the bye week came, and that gave Derek Stingley another week to get healthy, because Derek Stingley has not been healthy since week 1. He has not. He's been dealing with an oblique injury since week 1. And this bye week, him getting away from football, him not having any contact, him getting treatment, I think that that's going to help him. I can't wait to talk with him in the locker room this week and ask him about that. Just how much of this bye week did he spend, getting treatment, but allowing his body to heal and his body to rest? Because when you're watching him play, you can still see that boy got engaged, ready to crush something. Yeah, well, when you watch him, you could see that he was still, it was still that injury was still lingering, but he did not want to get on the field, and he did not want to be off the field. Like that, when he was off the field against Jacksonville, they had to take his helmet, and he was still on the sideline, and he like that was the one thing that probably ripped him to shreds. Him not being able to be out there on the field with his teammates. And so that's what I'm looking for, right? That's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for the Houston Texans to go into Seattle, and we'll talk about this game a little bit more as the week goes on, as we get closer to the game. But I'm looking for them to go in and see if they can keep that same momentum that they've had. I think what the offense has done, is found plays that are to CJ's liking. And I think that Nick Caley is so there was a lot of talk, there was a lot of chatter, there was a lot of answers given to us, to the media, when we asked Nick Caley about more control. We asked Nick Caley about more control for CJ in this offense. And then we asked CJ about more control, having more control of this offense. Throughout the first 3 weeks, you really didn't see it. But in that Tennessee game, you could start to see it more and more. And then against Baltimore, you could see it. And you can see him starting to get way more comfortable than he has been in a long time. Because in the first 3 games, I think we talked about it right here on the Texans Happy Hour, during those first 3 games, you can still see CJ's feet choppy. And that means that he wasn't comfortable being in the pocket because of the amount of hits that he took last season, the amount of time he was being pressured last season, the amount of sacks that he took. He was the second most sacks in the NFL. The only quarterback that got sacked more than CJ Stroud did in 2024 was Caleb Williams, the quarterback for the Chicago Bears. And so you could see that his feet were still choppy. But the one thing that I started to notice more and more starting in the Tennessee game was his feet started to slow down. Now, look, I've never played quarterback in the NFL. I haven't. I've never played quarterback in the NFL. But the one thing that I do know after talking to a lot of people who either has played in the NFL or is currently playing in the NFL, they'll tell you, hey, look, when a quarterback's feet is choppy like that, he's not comfortable. He's choppy, choppy, choppy because he never knows when he's gonna have to take off, when he's gonna have to move, when he's gonna have to run. He said, but when he drops back and he feels that he's protected, you can see his feet starts to settle. And when CJ's feet settles, like he's one of the most dangerous quarterbacks in the NFL because when he drops back and his feet settles, then he's watching the whole field. He's watching the whole field. And if he gets time, he knows exactly what he's doing. He's one of the most accurate quarterbacks when he has time in the NFL. And another thing that Nick Caley has helped CJ Stroud with this season is, hey man, if it's not there and it's not there, you may not be able to get to that third read. If your first read is covered and your second read is covered, you may not be able to get to that third read. And you know what I want you to do when you can't get to that third read? Get out of the pocket. Get out of the pocket and go where you need to go. Just like what you've seen against the just like you've seen in the game against the Baltimore Ravens where he picked up 30 yards and almost scored. Um, and so you have to have noticed that he's starting to get more and more comfortable in the pocket. You have to know that he's starting to take more and more control of the offense, and you have to know or you have had to observe that he is starting to feel more comfortable getting outside of the pocket and using his legs to pick up whatever yardage he's going to need. Because watching, you can tell that in CJ's mind, he's like, I don't want to be in second and long. I don't want to be in third and long. And so if I drop back if it's first, if it's second, if it's first and 10, I don't want to make a look up and we're second and 15 or we're third and 19. I don't want to be the one to cause us to have to be in these long down situations because now, once they're in a long down situation, now you're looking at, okay, what am I going to do to be able to pick up this yardage or if I'm going to be able to pick up this yardage? Last thing I have for you all, right? Last thing I have for you all. The one thing that I have noticed and I have observed from CJ Stroud over the last two games is he's starting to recognize that there's a lot of teams that want to play too high safety, right? There's a lot of teams that want to prevent the Houston Texans from having big plays down the field. They want to prevent they want to prevent Nico from having a big gain and gaining a lot of yards. And so they play a lot of too high. They play a lot of too high, or I think it was Tampa Bay, if I'm not mistaken. I think it was Tampa Bay, or maybe it was Jacksonville said they rushed four and they dropped seven. And that's what these teams have been trying to do against CJ Stroud here lately is put a lot of bodies in his view and in his way and in his receiver's way, because CJ can make the tight throw, but he's also very protective of the football. And he doesn't want to make that type of throw to whereas he knows he can get it there, but he also knows there's a chance that the defender could do something and get the ball, intercept the ball, and he doesn't want to do turnovers. So what has the Houston Texans offense coordinator done for CJ? He said, okay, if they're going to play this too high safety, right? If they're going to play the safeties, both of their safeties over the top, right? They want to prevent us from getting big plays. And if they're going to drop this many people into coverage, don't worry about it. We got a way to beat that. Because if you're going to drop them into coverage, use your legs. One. If that's not available, and what we're going to do is we're going to get the ball out of his hands. Get the ball out of CJ's hands. Hey, drop back up. Bam. Hey, look, maybe 3 yards, maybe 4 yards, but it's still a gain. And now we can, we can deal with the next play, but we've gained yardage instead of losing yardage, or having a dead play, or CJ taking a sack, or CJ turning the ball over. But what he's done, what he's starting to do, and the one thing that I like about him and Nick Caley communicating with each other, at least over these last 2 games, is, hey, let me get the ball out of my hands. Let me get the ball out of my hands and into the hands of the playmakers who are going to do what they need to do. Hey, if I can if I can get the ball out of my hands and get to the players that need to have it, then we could do, go from there. But I just like the fact that CJ is starting to excuse me, not only make quicker reads, but saying, all right, let me get the ball out of my hands to my playmakers, and then we're going to go from there. But if I get the ball out of my hands, let my receivers do what they need to do, and let the running backs do what they need to do, we can live to fight another day, and we can just keep the ball rolling. And that's exactly what I said. Dawson's been showing up these last 2 games in the running game by pancaking boys. I said Dalton Schultz has been playing very, very well. So Raymundo, I see. Are there trades you can see us making by the deadline? Brees Hall. I don't know. So let me say this, right? Let me say this. What I don't want Texans fans to do is to start looking at all these names that are going to be available. I don't want to the Texas fans to start looking at all these names that are going to be available and get caught up in that, and caught up on a name, and caught up on who's available, who's out there, and what you're going to give up just to get that player. Because sometimes you're giving up and he's just a rental. But in the case of Brees Hall, right? In the case of Brees Hall, so this is Sarge's opinion and Sarge's alone, right? This is Sarge's opinion and Sarge's opinion alone. I don't see nothing that Brees Hall does that rookie running back Woody Marks can't do. I don't see nothing that Brees Hall does that Woody Marks cannot do. Do I think that Brees Hall is a good running back? I do. I do think that Brees Hall is a very good running back. I do believe that he's a very good running back. But I don't want to give up assets to bring him in here. And I'm playing Nick Caserio right now, Executive Vice President and General Manager of the Houston Texans. I don't want to bring in somebody that's going to take away carries from my rookie, who I drafted to be the next starting running back for the Houston Texans, especially with the Joe Mixon situation. Especially with the Joe Mixon situation. And I see somebody says, I agree, Brees Hall's legs are a lot stronger and younger than Chubb's. You're right. But I don't want to give up assets for Brees Hall when I know what I already have in Nick Chubb. And if Nick Chubb isn't getting the job done, what we're doing is we're grooming our next running back. We're grooming our next running back in Woody Marks, who can run, who can catch, who can pass block, who does everything that you need him to do. He's just a rookie. That's the only problem. The only problem with Woody Marks right now is he's a rookie and he still has to learn. He still has to make sure his body is conditioned to play a long NFL season because we know that when these rookies come into the league, they have to get themselves conditioned because their season ends way before the NFL finishes. Their season ends in college way before. And then the physicality of this game and the speed of this game puts more on your body. And a lot of times the rookies are in very good shape. They're just not in NFL shape yet. They're still learning and still trying to get their NFL bodies together. But there's nothing that I feel that Brees Hall does outside of being a veteran that Woody Marks doesn't give you. And you just got to give him time. So I don't know about giving up future assets for a running back that I don't know how long is going to be with us, especially if I'm liking the 1-2 punch or the 1-2 combination of Nick Chubb and Woody Marks. Now, it's not about what he does differently from Marks. It's about the room as a whole. Can you elaborate on that? I don't know what that means. Uh you got to let me know what that means. Someone is saying about the tight end from is Njuku on is Njuku on the trade block as well, the tight end from Cleveland? Because if he is, that's a good piece. I don't know what the contract situation is. I don't know what they're looking for him, but you got to remember they're also about like Dalton. No, I mean not Dalton Schultz. Cade Stover will be back this year. Like Cade Stover will be back playing football for the Houston Texans this year. And so do you want to give up? Do you want to give up that any assets, knowing that you're going to get Cade Stover back? Even though, like I said, hey, don't get me wrong, man, Juku, that's a whole nother animal. It's a whole That's a whole grown man. Like that dude can play. Uh, oh, and Juku just got hurt. Oh, okay. I didn't know that. I didn't watch. So, side note, right? Side note. Let me timestamp this. Let me. I don't watch Cleveland, and although I think that Miles Garrett is a monster, I would love to watch Miles Garrett play football. I just think Miles Garrett he's a monster. I refuse to watch Cleveland because of what they're doing to Shador Sanders. I refuse. Side note to my side note. Damn, Tom Brady. Probably could have used a young quarterback out in Vegas right now, huh? How's that Geno Smith experiment working out for you? Probably could have drafted. You had the opportunity to draft a younger quarterback. Yeah, tell me how that Geno Smith situation is working out for you. But I refuse to watch the Cleveland Browns because of what they're doing to Shador Sanders. And for me, it's not even it's not that I don't think that Dylan Gabriel is a bad quarterback. I haven't watched him enough. I barely watched enough Oregon games, and that's only because one of my really good friends, his son plays for Oregon. And so, I watched Oregon a lot last year. Not a lot. Let me take that back. I didn't watch them a lot, but I watched them. I don't think that Dylan Gabriel is a bad quarterback. I just think that he's a rookie, right? But I also feel like they're not giving Shador Sanders. Hey, thank you, Bakari Walker. Yes, and the Saints. The Saints too. The Saints could have used a young quarterback as well, right? Right. Um, but I don't watch. I don't watch Cleveland because I think that For one, I think Stefanski should been gone. And I still can't believe, if I'm not mistaken, somebody fact check this for me. But if I'm not mistaken, didn't they give Stefanski the coach of the year in 2023 over D'Amico Ryans? It was Stefanski that got it, right? From Cleveland. I'm saying to myself, what? And now here you got Stefanski barely hanging on to his job in Cleveland. And I'm saying to myself, hey man, you got give the young man a chance. Give Shador a chance to play. Hey, if you're allowing one rookie to play, allow the other rookie to play too. Because y'all look horrible. And you're losing your team. You're losing the locker room. And you're losing games. And you look bad at the games that you're losing. Like, it's horrible. Let me see. I got something. Hold on one second. Let me see if I can find it. Let me see if I can find it. Give me 1 second. Did I put it here? Oh, here we go. Give me 1 second. Okay, this is here. Let me get to this real quick. All right, I'm about to share my screen. For those of y'all on TikTok, you're just gonna have to listen to it. For those on TikTok, you're just gonna have to listen to it for right now. I ain't learned how to do this Discord thing yet, so I don't know how to include y'all. This is why I say that the Cleveland Browns are idiots. Let me put this down right here. All right, so I'm sharing the screen. Y'all listen to this. And for those of y'all who are watching me on YouTube and on Twitter, y'all can see this. And this is why I say that Kevin Stefanski just needs to be fired. And I don't watch the Cleveland Browns because there's no possible way you telling me that Shador is going to look couldn't look better than this.
Let's look at the top 5 worst throws of week 6. And as an honorable mention, I got Dylan Gabriel for this throw off Isaiah Bond's head. He's facing an all-out blitz here, and it's honestly not even his fault because he has to get the ball out quick, but it was just a funny play. And for the next honorable mention, I got the Browns QB Dylan Gabriel. He has a little window right here to get it to Hannon, but instead he scrambles out the pocket and gets hit for an incompletion. And for my last honorable mention, I got the rookie out of Oregon, Dylan Gabriel. Isaiah Bond runs this nice out and in route that gets him open, and Gabriel has a clean pocket to step up and make this throw, but somehow throws it behind him for an incompletion. And now for the real list. At number 5, I got the signal caller for the Browns, Dylan Gabriel. He throws this rare deep ball to Jerry Jeudy that almost gets picked, and he decided to throw a back shoulder fade, but he should have threw it in the back of the end zone to give Jeudy a better chance to make a play on the ball. And at number 4, I got the rookie QB for the Browns, Dylan Gabriel. He does a good job of looking off the safety and has a wide open Hannon on this deep dig route, but instead he decides to check it off to his tight end for no gain. And at number 3, I got the 3rd round pick for the Browns, Dylan Gabriel. He scrambles out of the pocket and Jeudy does a good job of going upfield to get open, but instead he throws him out of bounds, which should have been a touchdown. And at number 2, I got soon to be QB2, Dylan Gabriel. He has a pretty clean pocket right here, but he decides to scramble towards the defensive lineman and throws his ball into triple coverage, which should have been a pick. And at number 1, I got the 41st starting quarterback for the Browns since 1999, Dylan Gabriel. He has no one open on this play, so he decides to blindly throw it to his check down, which should have been a potential pick 6.
That's why I don't watch the Browns. It's one of the main reasons why I don't watch the Browns. Because you can't tell me that Shador couldn't do like if you think that Shador does worse than that, I gotta question your football knowledge. And I digress. I just don't watch the Browns because, and y'all better be glad that Miss Jordan is still in this chat because I was about to cuss, but I don't cuss in front of her. I try my best not to cuss in front of her. I'm gonna say it like this: the Browns are that they're a crap show. They are like the Browns mascot should be the poop emoji on your phone. You know, the little brown emoji. Like that's what that's what Cleveland should be. And please, for the love of God, please, Cleveland, stop trying to sell me on Deshaun Watson coming back. I don't care. It's nothing against Deshaun Watson. I just don't care. I don't care. Deshaun Watson is not coming in to save save that franchise. Deshaun Watson looked bad when he was healthy. Being in the league this long, been through as much as he's been through, coming off this type of injury, he's not gonna save the Browns. And you're stuck with him because you gave him guaranteed money. Guaranteed. $230 million guaranteed. But you're also a franchise who drafted Johnny Manziel. You're also a franchise whose owner has taken, you know what? Sorry, this ain't about. Look, you got to do that on another show. I got it. Let me get back to the Texans. So I got to get ready to get up out of here because I got some things I need to do. All right. So that's all. Browns are terrible. So once again, like I said, the Seahawks and this Texans game is going to be good, and I think that it's going to tell a lot about the Houston Texans. It's going to tell a lot about what Nick Caley is doing and what he's trying to do, and if you can get this offense on track, if you can get. Wait a minute, hold on. Josh said, "Y'all think the Jets go 0-17 this season?" I really don't want the Jets to go 0-17 because I do like Justin Fields, quarterback. Garrett Wilson is on my fantasy football team, and Aaron Glenn is from Houston. Like I can't just root against Aaron Glenn, even though, like, I can't root against Aaron Glenn. I can't root for the Jets, but I'm not going to root against Aaron Glenn at all. Period. He from the H. Can't do it. I'm not going to do it. 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 Do I think that he's put in a bad situation? Of course. But we know that there's certain coaches who will only get those type of opportunities. You got to take the bad franchises and try to turn them around. So we know what the history of the game is. Aaron Glenn wasn't gonna be put in a situation where he was going to be able to be successful in year one. So I get it. And I understand. And he's a first year coach, so he's going to make some. I just can't do it. I can't root against Aaron Glenn. There is a young man who covers the Jets who used to be here in Houston that had a lot to say about CJ Stroud and wearing a hat that I wish you just stay up there and worry about the team you cover, my boy. Worry about the team you cover. And I think that he's a very good guy. I'm not gonna say his name. He know who he is. I think he's a very good guy. I just think that what goes on in Houston ain't none of your business. And just like in New York, it's really none of my business. I don't cover that team on a day-to-day basis. I mean, you could say something about Houston, but I just thought that was a weird type of thing for you to do that. All right, y'all. I gotta get up out of here. They say Massage Whisper coming back in week 10. Hey, but before I go, let me say this, y'all. Let me say this. So you know that I do the Texans happy hour, right? I do the Texans happy hour. So sitting back, thinking about it, I said it's not fair. It's not fair that I give the Texans a happy hour, right? I just give the Texans a happy hour when I also cover the Rockets, and I should give the Rockets a happy hour as well. Like I got to show the Rockets some love too. I can't just give all the love to the Texans and do a Texans happy hour. So I figured it out. And I don't know if you all, however many of you all follow the Big Sarge Media YouTube page, you might have seen this already. But when I go live now, from henceforth and evermore, when I go live for the happy hours, it won't be just the Texas happy hour. It's going to be the H Town happy hour, right? Throw your H's up, right? Is that what they say? Throw your H's up. So it's going to be the H Town happy hour. And in the H Town happy hour, I'm going to cover, I will be covering like Houston sports in general, but more specifically, the Houston Texans and the Houston Rockets. Because it's like I said, I don't want to alienate my my supporters who support me, who are Texans fans or may not be Texans fans, but they love the Rockets as well. So there's going to be starting on today, Wednesday, H Town Happy Hour. And in that H Town Happy Hour, we're going to talk more about the Texans here a little bit later on. H Town Get Down. I think somebody has that already, Tay. I think somebody already has the H Town Get Down, if I'm not mistaken. Somebody Google that for me. Fact check that for me, please. And if not, can somebody get it for me? See, we're on the same page. We want it all, bro. But it's going to start. I'm going to do what I call the H Town Happy Hour. Throw your H's up. And because, look, side note, let me say that they got the rundown of, I believe. And yeah, I forgot they do the run now. The H Town Get Down is too close to what they got going on, and I don't want to. That's a whole nother. Let me just do the H Town Happy Hour. Throw your H's up. I don't know why I do that every time I say that. Throw your H's up. I'm going to do the dang, what was I about to write? I don't even know. I got the pen in my hand. This is old age, y'all. Oh, I know what I was about to write. 40. Because let me give you a little preview. Let me give you a little preview of the H Town of the H Town Happy Hour. Throw your H's up. All right. The Houston Rockets and their addition of Kevin Durant didn't just get an all-time player in the NBA who's going to go down in history as one of the best players to ever play the game in Kevin Durant. Not only did they get a savvy veteran, not only did they get an efficient scorer, not only did they get a diehard basketball guy who continuously works on his game to get better. Like Kevin Durant's a basketball junkie, right? Kevin Durant is a basketball junkie. And H Town salute. I like that too, Queen. Let me write that down because I like that too. Hold on. So I had to write that down. So Kevin Durant's a basketball junkie. And he is one of those guys that constantly works on his game to constantly be better and better each year he comes into the league. And so not only did the Houston Rockets, excuse me. Not only did the Houston Rockets get all of that in Kevin Durant and an all-time great, NBA champion, a former MVP, an efficient scorer, one of the best scorers we've seen in this game, savvy veteran. But what they got was a player that can make other players better. And if you haven't seen that, nothing is more evident than in these first 3 games and what he's been able to do to open up the floor, not only for Amin Thompson, not only for Alperen Şengün, but the biggest, the biggest uh um I don't want to say surprise. Let me take that back. But the most glaring, the most glaring thing that we have noticed over the last 3 preseason games that Kevin Durant, excuse me, the last 2 that Kevin Durant has played in. He didn't play in the first one, the last 2 games that he's played in, but over the first 3 as a whole. But the last 2 games, watch Jabari Smith Jr. I like you right, benefactor, right? The biggest benefactor is Jabari Smith Jr. And I think if you've watched him play, especially with Ime over the last 2 seasons, Ime has come out and he said it. Coach Udoka has said it. Hey, we don't run plays for Jabari Smith Jr. and we don't run plays for Dylan Brooks. Like, those aren't my words; those are his words verbatim. Those are his words verbatim. And for those of y'all who just joining, what I'm doing is telling you all a previewing our new show that's going to be. It's the H-Town Happy Hour right now. Throw your H's up, but it may turn into something else here pretty soon, because I want to talk about the Texans and the Rockets during the happy hour. But back to what I was saying. The biggest benefactor with the Kevin Durant addition has been Jabari Smith Jr. And not only because it does open up the floor for him, he's able to learn because he has the same size and almost the same skill set as Kevin Durant. I think that Kevin Durant does a better job of creating his own shot, something that we've seen Jabari Smith Jr. do a whole lot better over these first 3 games. We're starting to see them run more sets for Jabari, something that he hasn't had since Ime Udoka has been coach for the Houston Rockets, but they're starting to run more sets for him. They're not just putting him in a corner and telling him to stay there and they're going to kick it, over there and shoot. No, they're moving him around, letting him become more efficient and using his skill set to his advantage. And when I say that, when I say that using his skill set to his advantage and to the Rockets' advantage, is they're also, like, you can see Jabari last season, when he came back from injury, you can see that he has that mid-range game where he can shoot over. He's tall enough, and that's something he's learned from Kevin Durant as well. Something that he had been learning from Kevin Durant by working out with him in the offseason. But what Kevin Durant has taught Jabari during the short time of them being teammates is, hey, man, do what I do. Do what I do. And what I mean by do what I do is I know that there aren't too many people that are going to affect my shot in my face. Like, it's going to take players like, Wemby or Giannis, people who have, who have that type of size that once they put their hand up, their reach is going to affect my shot. And what I mean by affect my shot is they can put their hands in my face. But other than that, when I rise up to shoot, everybody's down here. So I have a clear look at the basket. And what Kevin Durant has been teaching Jabari in the short time that they've been together, all he did was add on to what he was teaching him in the offseason. Use your size to your advantage. Use your size to your advantage. Most of the times, the people that get matched up on you, or when we run these screens to get the smaller player matched up on you, they're not going to affect your shot. Rise up and just shoot. You're going to shoot right over them. You know that there's a person or a defender right there. but you're 6'10", 6'11". Hell, Jabari looked like he may have grown to 7 feet, but Jabari's gotten taller. Look, I think he came in 16, he may be like 6'11". I don't know. I had to ask him again when they get back from this road trip. When he rises up, there's nobody that there aren't too many people that's going to affect the shot. And he realizes that now, but what Jabari is also doing is he's shooting with a lot of confidence and he's not afraid to take the shot. That's something that he told me personally last week when I asked him about that. When I said, it looks like you're shooting more. You had 11 attempts on the night. He said, I feel like I'm one of the I feel like I'm one of the best shooters on this team, and so I just got to take my shot and I got to shoot it with confidence. I can't worry about anything else. I just got to shoot. And so when Kevin Durant's on the floor, you got to pick your poison. You got to pick your poison. What are you going to do? Are you going to try to stop Amen and that quick first step and the ability to get to the lane, but also kick the ball out? Because this is what a lot of people have forgotten. And like I say, if you're just tuning in right now, I know that it's not a must win for the Texans, but I know that that's the title of this. But what I'm doing is giving you a preview of the H-Town Happy Hour. Throw your H's up. I'm giving you a preview of the H-Town Happy Hour where I'm going to be talking about the Houston Texans and I'm going to be talking about the Houston Rockets. But I digress. What you're going to have to do now when you play the Houston Rockets is, okay, so am I going to have to stop Amen Thompson, who, if I close out on him, he's going to go by me with his first step. A lot of people don't realize that Amen Thompson has played point guard his entire career until he got to the NBA, and then they moved him into those different spots. But by moving him into those different spots, when Fred VanVleet was healthy, by putting him in those different spots, he learned different spots on the floor. This is the first time in his NBA career he's been back at the point guard position. Like he wasn't, and if Fred VanVleet doesn't get hurt, he's playing the 2 guard position. But he would have been in the back court instead of the front court. But you got to pick your poison. Am I going to try to stop Amen Thompson? Okay, so if I try to stop Amen Thompson, then who's holding Alperen Şengün, who has gotten himself in really, really, really good shape coming into the season? Who gonna stop him? Like if you come to me now, you're gonna leave one-on-one with Alpy, who can create his own shot, who's very effective in the low post, that is also a very good passer from the low post and the high post. So what are you gonna do? We're gonna go over to our men. No, okay, so it's gonna leave Alpy up. Okay, so let's go from our men. Let's put the focus on Alperen Şengün. Okay, so if you put the focus on Alperen Şengün, then who's gonna stop Kevin Durant? I mean, because if we're keeping it a buck, like he is the first player that you should have all your attention on when he's on the court. If you're not going to stop Kevin Durant, if you're not going to put the attention on Kevin Durant, he's going to kill whatever. And I don't mean that literally. I'm talking about figuratively, basketball wise. There's not going to be anybody on that court that can stop him. And he can create his own shot, and he's so effective at shooting that you're going to have to get somebody over there. Okay, so who? So we got him. So we cover our men, and then we cover Alpy, but then we cover Kevin Durant. Well, who's going to stop Jabari now? Who is learning how to get to his spots, who has worked on his ball handling skills to be able to create a shot like Kevin Durant, and now he's going to be able to get there. Okay, so if you're doing all that, and if the Rockets aren't going with a double big lineup, say you got Reed Shepherd and Amen Thompson in the backcourt. So while you're focusing on these 4, they got a deadly shooter in Reed Shepherd who he just needs space. So when you're going over there and you allow him to float to get to a spot, he's going to shoot. So I like what the Houston Rockets did. I like the fact that by bringing in KD, I didn't know what it was going to be like at first. I'm going to be honest with you, because everybody knows KD is my favorite player. He's my favorite player in the NBA. I don't let that affect my job, because when I'm working, I'm working. but I didn't know how that was going to be at first, especially when you factor in that he's had some health issues in the past. But I think that after watching him play with this unit, right? After watching him play with this unit, he doesn't have to be the central focus of the offense, all the while being the central focus of the offense. Okay, let me say that again for the people in the back. Kevin Durant does not have to be the central focus of the Houston Rockets offense, all the while being the central focus of the Houston Rockets offense. Excuse me. For those of y'all who don't understand what that means, he doesn't have to be the primary ball handler like he has had to been in some previous places. He doesn't have to initiate the offense like he's had to do in some of his previous stops. All he has to do is come on the court and just be Kevin Durant. All he got to do now, he's back in a spot. He's back in a place where all he has to do is just hoop. That's it. That's all he has to do is just hoop. Because every player that's on the court on the Rockets, every Rockets player that's on the court with him knows exactly who he is. Hey, that's Kevin Durant. And that's Kevin Durant. Okay. That's Kevin Durant. And Kevin Durant is going to be exactly who Kevin Durant is going to be. That pace that I've watched these Rocket starters play with over the last 3 games and the last 2 games with Kevin Durant, hell, they getting out so fast that sometimes KD don't even have to come down the court. By the time they get out, our man is gone. Jabari, gone. Tari on the court, gone. Alpi, gone. By the time they kick the ball out, our men is already up the court. Hell, they done already got in transition and tried to score the basket. Or they ain't scored the basket. They're going to pull it out. They're going to wait for KD to come on across there and let's get it. Now, not saying that KD can't run the court because I've seen him get out and run the court with them as well. But he's like, shoot, if I got these young guns, I'm going to kick it out. I'll save my energy for, the next time down court. So, yeah, that's what you're going to get. Yeah, that's what you're going to get. And we also got to talk about just how important Clint Capella, excuse me, just how important Clint Capella is going to be to the Houston Rockets. Like, that's one of the most sneakiest pickups that they got. Like, there's some sneaky pickups, and we're going to talk about this a little bit later on. There's some sneaky pickups that General Manager Rafael Stone did this past offseason that I don't think people are paying a lot of attention to. I'm interested to see what Dorian Finney-Smith is going to be, because him and our men are damn the best friends on the team because they play with the same mindset, but he's recovering from an ankle injury. I just want to see what he's going to be able to do in this offense. I just need to see it. Josh Okogie. The Rockets got some good reserves. I like Josh Okogie. We already know that Aaron Holiday, what he can do. Hell, Aaron Holiday won the game for them against the Pelicans on Tuesday night. Aaron Holiday, Josh Okogie, of course you got Tari. Who else am I thinking? And then, like I said, Clint Capella, and you got Steven Adams. And there's even times where if you want to roll a double big lineup with Steven Adams, you can put Steven Adams and Clint Capella out there at the same time. You could put Clint Capella and Şengün. You could put Şengün and Adams. Like, there's a lot. And so when they put those type of lineups out there, though, when they put those, see, a lot of people don't realize what that double big lineup does. Not only does it give them size, because now when you got, like last night, they started Amen 6'7" at the point. They started Kevin Durant 7 feet at the two guard position. They started Jabari, 6'11", 7 feet at the small forward. Started Shingun at the power forward, 6'11", 7 feet, seven something. And Stephen Adams. That's a lot of size on the court. Four of those players are some of your most effective, are your offensive weapons. Four of those are. Then you got Stephen Adams, who's there to clean up everything. And so when they go to that double big lineup, there's a lot of height and length on that court that's going to be hard to stop. So anyway, hold on, let me say goodbye to my TikTok family. Hey, I appreciate y'all. We'll be back for the H-Town Happy Hour. I appreciate you. I made 9 cents on that. Until my oh yeah. Hey, I ain't gonna even lie, I like JD Davison. I talked with him. I like him. He was a G League Player of the Year. I'm being funny. I call him JD Whitmore because he kind of looks like Cam and plays like him. A nice replacement makes not his butt hurt about getting rid of Cam. Yeah. That's hilarious. JD Whitmore. Tar would literally mug up a game, and I love it. Yeah, because Tar had like 20 points last night. KD comes in to play during the playoffs when you need that for sure. Basket, something Jalen Green couldn't give us. I get it, Kobe. I get it. But Jalen that was his first playoff series, though. I get it, though. I get it. What's up, Devrick? I didn't even know you had creeped on him, man. NBA back on NBC. Yep. Exactly, Scoot. They can't load up the paint like they used to now that KD's here. You know what? I seen a picture that I retweeted, and it says we have to talk. Devrick says we have to talk about that boxing match last night against Amen and versus Jose. And for those of y'all didn't see it, Amen Thompson and Jose Alvarado from the New Orleans Pelicans had a little kerfuffle, a small little skirmish, if you might add. And I will say this. I like the fact that after the game they were seen shaking hands, hugging it out, or whatever, because play with the intensity in between the lines, but have gamesmanship outside of the line. Play with intensity during the game, but play with intensity during the game, but have gamesmanship outside of the court, off the court. So let me get up out of here. Yes, Ashy Knuckles, you did. And this is what I just did was preview the H-Town Happy Hour show. 38 is up, or it may turn into the H-Town Salute. I like that too. I gotta now. Queen done gave me a. I gotta go see now. I gotta think about it. You could always rewind it back though. He went to Sacramento. Did he? Let me see. Westbrook went to Sacramento. I don't know. I'm trying to see, y'all. Let me fact check this. Or you just saying? Hold on. Let me do it this way. Westbrook. Yep, you're right. Thank you for breaking that news for me, Senior Boble. 9-time NBA All-Star Russell Westbrook has agreed on a deal to sign with the Sacramento Kings. Sheesh. Yeah, that may be a little something for them. I'm going to tell you that right now. Sheesh. God. Ooh-wee. Oh wow. That's amazing news for him. All right, y'all. I gotta get up out of here because I'm gonna tell you right now. One of the reasons why I gotta get up out of here is because I gotta pee. Because I'm getting old. I can't hold it like I used to. I gotta pee. That's the first thing. Then I got some articles I need to write and some other things I need to do and try to get myself prepared for this H-Town salute. I like that. Yeah. You've been tuning to the Texas Tailgate Talk Show with your host, Big Sarge. Make sure you follow me on the app formerly known as Twitter at Big Sarge Sports with the Z at the end. Follow me on the Tick and the Talk at Big Sarge Media. Make sure you subscribe to the Texas Tailgate Talk podcast and YouTube channel. All one word, Texas Tailgate Talk. Follow me on Instagram at Big Sarge Sports with the Z at the end. Because you know we do everything for the gram. And make sure you're reading all my articles at www.bigsargemedia.com. All right, y'all. Until next time, I'm out. Big Sarge.